Good afternoon and welcome to WAVY Digital Desk. I'm your host, Sarah Good. Today we're going to be talking about the Olympics. Now I know everyone's been watching, but there's still much more action to take place between track, soccer, and what we're talking about today, women's basketball. Now you're going to see some photos here of what has happened so far in the lead up to, the quarterfinals, which are taking place tomorrow. Now we're going to bring on head coach of Old Dominion women's basketball, and she's going to be speaking with us about her own experience as a two-time gold medalist, talk about her career and what she's seeing now, and a special role that she took on this year in helping, select players for the game. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Delisha Milton-Jones. Coach, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. It's
Absolutely.
always a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that we've done, interviews with you in the past. I was watching just earlier today, you and James Catato got to do a little competition in the gym, just a couple months ago when you hit 100 wins. So, we've seen all that you've done here with the ODU team. And so it's a pleasure to get to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Tell him he needs to come back and get his butt kicked a little
I
bit
know,
more.
right? It wasn't enough. You guys can do a rematch. But just a little bit about you before we get started. I think everyone's familiar with your name, but if they're not, head coach of Old Dominion. You played at University of Florida, now WNBA 17 season career. Some teams local, Washington Mystics, but Los Angeles Sparks, San Antonio Stars, New York Liberty. And now you're a two-time Olympics gold medalist in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney and in 2000, is it 2008, 2004? Yes.
2008.
Yep.
Yes.
And so, you have a lot of, and then also WNBA All-Star. You also were, in the Hall of Fame. So now that you had this, huge career, now you're at ODU. How does it feel now watching the games when you've been in their shoes?
Watching the games now, I'm rushed with different emotions and different thoughts and memories. It's kind of hard to focus on the game because so many situations I see them in currently on the floor. I I am brought back to those same instances when I played. So it's a weird matrix that I feel like I'm stuck in when I'm watching the game, trying to be a fan, and then the former player in me in those situations come bulging in.
And I guess as a coach too, you're watching the dynamics, you're watching what's happening on the floor, you're probably thinking about plays, thinking of what you do in their shoes.
All the time, all the time. I think now more than anything, I'm looking at it from a coach's bird's eye view and perspective because that's something that I am currently doing is coaching. And so I'm watching the game in a critical way, like, oh, in this situation, they need to go inside, or we need a quick hitter, or what should we call a timeout, and what adjustments should we make defensively?
And this year, you had a special role. You were part of the selection committee. What was that like, being able to choose the talent that's going to represent the U.S.?
I thought it was a huge responsibility being able to pick, have an opportunity to be on the selection committee to choose who the next 12 best women we would find to represent our country in Paris. And it was a daunting task, and I felt like no matter what decision we made, someone was going to be unhappy with something. But to keep things true to the integrity of what they asked me to do, we just focused solely on finding the 12 best players like they asked that would go and give us the best opportunity to continue our dynasty that we have set with USA basketball in the Olympics.
Absolutely. And you're a huge part of that. If they win this year, for people that don't know, this would be the 8th consecutive win, which is a huge honor, for the U.S. team. There's players right now that are on the team that you, in fact, have played with. And I was watching a clip today where you said Diana Taurasi, that is one of your favorite players to play against. What's it like now watching her on this team as one of the more experienced players taking on the court?
I'm so proud of her, and I sometimes I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, I wish I could dust my shoes off and be out there with her. But she's representing the 40 and over club, and she's doing it in a tremendous form and fashions. She's in tremendous shape. She's just as sharp mentally as she's ever been. She's actually out there trying to play defense. That's something she's not known for, but I think she's putting forth her best effort doing so. But more than anything, I think the impact that she will have with this team is more so in the locker room, behind closed doors, on the bus rides, in those quiet moments that she could spend talking to one of the younger players or first timers about what to expect and how they can get through tough moments and keep them in a position to win a gold medal.
And you yourself, you've been on the team in two different places, right? 2000 and 2008. That's 8 years of experience that you had under your belt. What's it like? And I know that you mentioned, selecting this year's team. There was a lot of, national commentary about who is going to make the team, younger players, more experienced players. What is that like, being on the team maybe as a younger player and then also as more of an experienced player?
Being on the team as a younger player, you are wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I think the one attribute you can bring that's an immediate asset to everything going on is your youth. Bring your youthfulness, allow that energy to permeate throughout the team, so that some of the old vets that have been down this road a time or two, they can pull from you in a powerful way, and you can impact them. Then, as a vet in this game, you see it with a different scope. You see it from the perspective of been there, done that. You have the experience, which gives you knowledge as you're going through this. So now you understand how to prepare. You understand what's to come. You understand how big the task is and what's expected of you mentally, emotionally, and physically, and you're able to give what is necessary.
And for the women, it's a busy summer. They're coming, from their season, practicing. Now we had the group round. Now we're going into the playoffs here at the Olympics. How does that feel? Is that, I'm sure there is excitement, but is that daunting in terms of the level of, play that's required, of how many games they're playing right back to back?
Listen, at this point, everything that you have been through in the preliminaries, it was to prepare you for what's to come. You get one chance now, you're one and done. So everything that you went through, you have to pull from it in a powerful way. If there were games that were too close for comfort, what are the good elements that you can take from that to add to what's to come? You you don't have a lot of time as an American on the U.S. women's national team because you only get 2 weeks, 2 weeks to form some type of team chemistry, 2 weeks to have a bond on both ends of the court where the ball can move. So everything is expedited. So there's more focus, there's more that you have to give, more unselfishness that has to be attached to every thought process and action performed in order for us to go out and complete the task.
Absolutely. And I mean, 2 weeks, that's nothing compared to what some of these teams are doing, maybe, for months in preparation or, maybe stops along the way. What was that like for you? I imagine both teams were pretty different in dynamics.
Yes, it was different in dynamic because of personnel, but um the feelings and the energy surrounding it and mindset were all the same. One team, one country, one goal, and that's to win the gold medal. And if we fell short, it was gold or bust. No silver, no bronze. It was completely for the goal. But when you're in that situation, you understand clearly that there are no room for mistakes. You have to have a dominating mentality. You want to win the warm up. You want to be precise in your scouts. You want to be sharp as ever because you know you're going to get everyone else's best effort every single time that you suit up. And while we may have some holes here or there, offensively or defensively, probably more defensively than we do offensively, you know our opponents are going to try to gun for us and showcase and put on display every nuance that is negative in our play. We have to be the type of team that's going to come out and say in the first 5 minutes of the game, we want to be up 20. So that means
Right.
we have to come out with energy and we have to be collective in that pursuit.
And you all go from a season, obviously, where you're competing against each other to having to be a team. What's that like in that transition? Some of those people you're playing against now being the person you're passing to.
I think that's a great question because, in some instances, it's a little weird because it's like 2 weeks ago, you tried to take my head off and I tried to take yours off. Or we suffered a tough loss and I didn't like the trash talking that was going on. But at the end of the day, we're all competitors and we're doing it at an elite level. But we keep the perspective where it should. We keep the thing. And the thing is the gold medal. So we instantly put all of those emotions and feelings to the side. It doesn't matter what team you play for, how much money you make, or what even your whatever your status is in the game of women's basketball. It doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is what's across your chest, and that's USA.
And I'm sure every year it's hard to select the talent for the team. I feel like this year in particular, at least people who have not previously really been watching WNBA, have been watching women's basketball, maybe a resurgence. And I hate to say that because I know there are so many loyal fans, that obviously have been watching you all and watching the teams for years. But what's it feel like, this year, seeing the talent, seeing the people, picked and be selected for this team? Did it feel like maybe it was a harder responsibility this year with all of the personalities and players? I mean, just tell me a little bit about that process.
It was very difficult, but yet easy at the same time because the crop of players we get to choose from, they're very talented. You can go to any team in the WNBA and handpick two or three players from each team and say, hey, any combination we throw together, we should be able to go and win. But what makes it difficult is when you throw in other other variables.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, who has been to the camp? Who has made the sacrifices that were necessary for us to see them in this environment with head coach Cheryl Reeves and her staff, with the core group of players that we know will make up this team? Who fits the style of play on both ends of the floor that the head coach is looking for and that the committee feels will go and be able to compete at a high level night in and night out under extreme circumstances on foreign soil? So when you add all those variables up to culminate to make your decision, then it becomes rather easy who should be in what positions and who should be playing with who and who can make the most immediate impact for us to be successful.
Right, because sometimes, in sports, I play lacrosse, for example. So every style of play, it's different. Every team is a different kind of defense. Every team is a different kind of dynamic in transition on the field. I know that we used to have to watch basketball for plays around the eight, to see how quickly you all move the ball. But you're trying to figure out those dynamics too, right? It's not always just let's pick the top players. It's who's going to work well together.
Oh, chemistry is everything. When you're playing against opponents that have been playing together for years, while during my tenure of playing internationally, what I noticed was they start at the grassroots level and they grow in their game and in their culture and their chemistry and cohesiveness as they age. And you tend to see those players go from grassroots levels to Olympians together. So they know each other like they go together like hand and glove. They really do. So you're combating against all of that. So when we're putting a team together, it can't just be who is a crowd favorite. It can't just be who can get more butts in the seat and garner more media attention than the next. It has to be a well thought out plan where when we go and put this team and present it to the world on the world stage, they have to be able to conquer the goal, because if we fall short and we do things according to how our fans feel like it should be done and we fall short, then there's going to be a lot of criticism and a dynasty will be lost. And now we would have to start our win streak over again. That's not something that we wanted to deal with. We wanted to do our job and be solidified in whatever 12 woman roster we put together, knowing that they'll go and they'll accomplish the goal.
That's interesting that other teams do it differently. They're built up from the bottom, so they're not really pulling the same way that the U.S. is.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. When you think about the Olympics, I've said this before, a lot of people they can see the gold medal. They can see the gold medal and they're like, "Oh, job well done." But what comes along with this are tremendous sacrifices, a lot of lost time with family, friends, and loved ones. You miss birthdays. You miss laying a family member or a friend to rest when they pass. You miss beautiful moments that this opportunity can steal from you, but then when you accomplish the goal, it can reward you in a different way.
And show that again if you might. But, what does that feel like to have those medals, years later, but, from, obviously hugely important moments in your life? I mean, what's it feel like to see them and to hold them now?
I think when I hold my medals now, they definitely have a different impact and meaning on my life because I understand clearly what it took to achieve this. And then on another hand, I also understand how amazing it allows me to feel afterwards because I feel so accomplished. And it does take a village, and it takes a special group of women, even the committees that pick them. I understand what everyone went through because I've been on every level of it. But to hold this in my hand and not just for me to share in this moment, but to share it with fans, share it with my players, share it with my family, it means the world to me to be able to do so. I feel like I've contributed in a major way to being able to live on American soil and live a good life.
Well, it's unbelievable seeing them, right now, even just like through Zoom. So I imagine when you pass those around and you can talk to your players about it, you're setting such a new perspective for them too.
Most definitely. I think everything we do here at Old Dominion for our women's basketball program, we have standards, and those standards are attached to excellence. And I only know what I've been taught and through my experiences, and I've been afforded the luxury of being at an elite level for a long time. So our players have to be gold medalists in the community, in the classroom, on the court, and in their character. And that's a mantra that we sing throughout our program. We try to live by it, let alone talking about it.
And that's a great standard to hold them to because obviously, as we know, you know, athletes, while yes, on the court, also have to be role models. And I think that's a big place. And I'm sure that you've felt that, through your experience, people coming up to you, even now, as you're holding your gold medals, I'm sure people come up to you and want to know how you got there, want to know how you built this for yourself.
Yeah, they do. And there's a story behind every athlete in their journey. But I think the most important thing that I can tell anyone is to have joy as you go through your journey. There are going to be days where it's going to be so hard and you're going to feel like giving up. But you have to have a level of stick to itiveness and perseverance attached to what you're doing. Because if it's truly your passion, your purpose will be displayed within it. And no matter how hard the days are, no matter how many the sacrifices you have to make, if you can continue to have joy within that journey, you'll find the pot of gold literally at the end of it.
And those sacrifices you just spoke about, a few minutes ago, and talking about those important life moments, things that you have to miss.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody, that really wants to go out there to the Olympics, that really wants to be a part of, WNBA basketball? Do you think people today understand, the sacrifices that they'll have to make? And we're seeing all these amazing athletes obviously making it look easy, right?
Yeah.
On TV, but to hear what someone goes through, to get there, get that, gold medal, do you think that's a good reminder for people?
I definitely think it's a good reminder, and I think something that they can do that can add to what they already may do, possibly in terms of following a player on social media and engaging with them in conversation or in their lives through double clicking. I think that the most powerful tool you have with the Olympics coming to our soil in 2028, I think you can buy your tickets and go to the games and get that experience. For the WNBA, buy the tickets, become a season ticket holder, and go and experience it and get an up close and personal bird's eye view of how the game is played and allow it to become yourself to become one with it so you can see from a different vantage point just how hard the work is. You can hear the communication behind what they're doing on the floor. You will feel and see the passion that they're putting into play so that they can be victorious in that moment. And then also watch what they're doing in the community. If they're out and about signing autographs, holding camps, or going to just be a mentor to other basketball players or other people, human beings, support all of that. And now, when you put all of that together, you're building something within you that can ignite a fire that will never be let out.
And for those girls that want to work up to that, I mean, what's your top, piece of advice for them? Is it focusing on, dribbling? Is it focus on their endurance? I mean, what are some of those things that, kids now can make sure that they have ready to go?
Anytime I'm speaking to the youth, I tell them, being active is always a good thing. If you want to be good at basketball, then you're going to have to play basketball, practice basketball, watch basketball. We all are prone to make the mistake of thinking that the only thing we need to work is the physical, but there's a muscle in here that needs to be worked as well too. And this muscle controls the emotions attached to your heart, and it also can control what the body does and how well it does it. So tapping into the mental side of things, using visualization and imagination, being able to see yourself do something before you actually do it is probably the best practice tool that I could give any young player.
And we've seen some gymnastics, competitors on both sides close their eyes, go through their routine. So
Yeah.
what you're talking about, while it might not show on TV, see yourself doing it. I think that's a really great piece of advice.
Yes, it is. And a lot of times people forget to breathe and truly be in the moment. But if you watch the Olympics, when you watch the long jumpers or the triple jumpers, or you watch the sprinters or the gymnasts or even the basketball players at the free throw line or whatever it may be, there is so much power behind just being in the moment, embracing everything that you're feeling, and just breathe. Breathe, inhale, exhale, be in the moment, see yourself, whether it was a mistake that you made, cleaning it up and making it better. If you did something good, then rinse and repeat. Try to do it all over again. But as simple as those things are, attaching a mindset, attaching good breathing techniques will allow you to be relaxed in the moment so that you can perform at an elite level.
And then I know we're almost out of time, but I do want to just get to, the WNBA this year. A lot of more eyes on it. Hopefully, those TV deals and those other deals will follow and sort of raise the bar for women's sports. How are you feeling about, changes you're seeing or, excitement around all the seasons?
I am so excited for everything that the women of the WNBA are experiencing. I think that the sacrifices we all made when I came into the league back in 1999, we knew that we were going to be the pillars that this bridge was going to be built upon, and we wanted it to be a solid foundation that we stood upon. The ones that came before us that did not get to participate in a professional league, or they tried and it failed, but we knew that there's a large responsibility attached to us furthering this cause, so that my niece or future daughters will have an opportunity to be in the WNBA. The fan support, the media support, the marketing dollars and initiatives that have been placed behind the WNBA has all created this momentum. Then when you add the likes of household names like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Juju Watkins and everything that everyone is doing on the collegiate level, it is such an enjoyable process to be a part of.
Absolutely. And, it's exciting to watch. And, for women's sports, it's so exciting to see all of the energy on it. And, it's nice to see you with your team there at ODU being able to have, these exciting moments, to be able to have, you as a coach, I'm sure is just an unbelievable opportunity for some of these women, to see somebody and sort of emulate them.
Yeah, I appreciate you for saying that, but I think a little differently. I think that it is a blessing for both of us, for them to have me and for me to have them. Being an athlete that played the game at the grassroots level and now I'm coaching, I feel so honored to be able to give back in the most forceful way that I can all the love and admiration that I have for the game, for all the things that it has gifted me in my life. So, any player that has been afforded the luxury of being coached by Delisha Milton Jones, I would hope and pray that they walk away full of passion, full of purpose, ready to make an impact in anyone's life that they share space with.
And you're excited for this year's team. They'll be on campus, not exactly, in the next weeks, but coming up. They're coming to campus.
Yes, they are. We just completed our summer workouts a couple of days ago. The team looks great. I love where we're at offensively, defensively. I'm looking forward to them coming back to campus on August 20th and them getting situated for fall classes to start. But then we revving our gears up in full preparation for opening up our season November 4th.
Well, I can't wait to check them out this year. Best of luck as they start off their school year. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon to talk about this. I think, it's such a unique conversation to be able to speak with you about your Olympics experience and, in selecting the team this year as well. So can't wait. And so for everyone, mark your calendar tomorrow. The quarterfinals start. The U.S. is playing Nigeria in the quarterfinals on the August 7th. So make sure that you have that set. I know that it's about at 3:30, I think, Paris time, but obviously a little bit different here in the U.S., but I'm sure that will be something to keep your eyes on tomorrow. But Coach, is there anything else, that you want people to keep in mind as the games start here?
I want them to enjoy every minute of it and be true supporters. Win, lose, or draw. I'm hoping that we win, but it was a lot of hard work and decision making that went into this entire process. And those women and men deserve to be celebrated for their efforts because it's not easy.
Absolutely. Well, I know we can't wait to cheer them on. But, Coach, thank you again for being with us here. And if you're watching this now or later, more information's up on WAVY.com. You can also find out more information about Coach Milton Jones and past coverage on WAVY. So definitely check that out. But, Coach, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Absolutely.